Today we're going to introduce my newest bike, the Yamaha MT-03, which I just picked up yesterday. And I'm going to do a little comparison between this and my Honda CB300R because they're both in about the same price range. They're pretty close in engine size, except the Honda's a single cylinder and this is a twin with about 25 more cc's, but they're a pretty close comparison, and there's a lot of differences and a lot of similarities. So I'm going to tell you what some of the differences and similarities are before we take this for a test drive, and we'll just do a walk around and look at both bikes together. First of all, we'll look at the Yamaha. Now the color is called Iceberg Storm. They had to name it something special so it wouldn't just sound like the bland color that it really is, which is matte light gray. But the blue accents on it really make it stand out. I don't really care for matte paint jobs. I like to have paint jobs that I can put some polish on them and make them shine. But that's the only way this comes, and the two-tone color suited me, so I got it anyway. It is a single exhaust, same as the Honda. 2-into-1 on this. This is a twin cylinder, 321 cc, water cooled. The Honda is a single cylinder, 286 cc, and it's water cooled also. The lights on the Yamaha are a little deceiving in that it looks like there's a row of LEDs all the way out, but there's not. Only this one bulb in the middle flashes, and it carries a little shadow of the light out on the ends. I'll show that to you. So it's a little deceiving. The lights really could have used LEDs in a string out there, but it's just for looks, I guess. The headlight is a little deceptive in that it has driving lights up here, and the headlight is this one tiny bulb right there. And we'll see what that looks like now. Oh, and as we do this, before I start it, you'll notice that there is no starter switch. The hazard warning switch is here where the starter switch usually is, and they use the off-on engine kill switch as the starter switch. There's the high beam. And the low beam. Yamaha branding, the horn, fake air intakes. They don't go down to the radiator or anything of any value. The radiator is right there. It does have a hydraulic assisted slipper clutch like my big Kawasaki has. but Kawasaki still has the easiest pull. You can clutch it with your little finger. Even though this has a hydraulically assisted clutch, you can't clutch that with your little finger. It's a much harder pull. Kawasaki has the easiest pulling clutches on the market, and have had for quite a few years. The Honda has a slightly fatter rear tire than the Yamaha does. Yamaha does make a carry rack for it, although I can't see where it hooks up, but I will be finding out pretty soon when I order one, so that I can put a larger rack on it and move the tail bag off from the passenger seat, because it makes it real difficult to get under the passenger seat where the helmet locks are. So I'd like to move that back, and we'll see how that goes. Puig also makes a small windshield for it. It goes up over here to help block the wind on your chest. And I've got to put the grip puppies on it yet, like I have on all of my other bikes. Make it a little bit fatter so it doesn't feel like you're just gripping a pencil. I did have the dealership install the quick shifter. It's a genuine Yamaha accessory. $150 for the accessory, $195 for installation, $350. This is the first bike that I have had in a long time that has a USB port on it for charging your phone. And I have a quad lock phone mount on it. It does come with, you can download, I should say, the app for this, because it does have their Bluetooth Ride Now technology on it, so your phone will tell you all sorts of things about your power and your mileage and all that sort of thing. If you're into that, it also tells you when you get a message. It tells you right here on your screen. When you get a text message or a phone call or that sort of thing, it tells you the battery power of your phone. This does have a gear indicator. When it's in neutral, of course, the neutral light is lit. And I guess the engine has to be running to tell you the gear that it's in. I've got 132.9 miles on it since I picked it up. So I like the gear indicator, which my 2019 Honda CB300R does not have, but the new ones do have it. It is not a TFT. It is just an LCD screen. Possibly in another year they'll go TFT. They should have done it by now. Almost everybody else has gone to TFT. And of course the other controls are all pretty much standard. One thing I will note though is that the turn signal is the softest of any of them I've got. All my other bikes go click, click, and hard click to release. This is a soft touch. You just don't really feel it. You push it and it cancels very easily. This is the softest touch I've seen. The engine on this developed 41 horsepower according to Yamaha. Cycle World tested it on a dynamometer, and it tested at 37.1 at 10,590 RPMs. And Yamaha claims 21.8 pound-feet of torque, and Cycle World measured that at 20.2. The Honda, which is a street fighter, as both bikes are called, and is probably the closest other bike on the market to the MT-03. It develops 30.7 horsepower at 9,000 RPMs and 20.3 foot-pounds of torque, which means that the MT-03 has about 25 to 30% more horsepower, but the Honda has more low-end torque because of it being a single-cylinder engine. And it's very noticeable around town at low speeds. It's got a lot more get up and go, much quicker than the Yamaha does, which the Yamaha in a way reminds me of my Kawasaki Versys 300X, which took forever to get up to speed. It had no low-end torque at all, and this is much faster than that 300 was. I think they've geared it a little different, but it's not as fast off the line as the smaller 300 single cylinder because this has a lot more torque. The Honda also has a 2 foot shorter turning radius than the Yamaha does, and the Yamaha weighs a very noticeable 53 pounds more. The Honda only weighs in at 313 pounds, and the Yamaha is 366. It's a very noticeable difference. Now, the ride quality. I've always complained about the ride on this bike. It's got a very hard saddle and stiff suspension, and I always felt it was one of my hardest riding bikes until I got the Yamaha. The Yamaha has a softer saddle and a little softer rear suspension, and it has a 1 inch longer wheelbase, but it rides choppier. So it's all in the geometry. That 1 inch longer wheelbase happens to just line up with the bumps in the road perfectly so that it rides choppier, I guess. It's all in the geometry, not always in the suspension or the saddle. I did a comparison ride this morning over a bumpy road with both bikes, and the Honda, which I've always thought rode terrible, actually rode better than the Yamaha did. The Yamaha has a little bit more upright seating position, not much, but just a little bit. And for longer distance riding, I think it's a more comfortable bike than the Honda. So the Honda is 386 cc and the Yamaha is 321, so that's a 35 cc difference. The Honda has a 2.67 gallon tank and the Yamaha has a 3.7. I get between 90 and 100 miles to a gallon with the Honda, and I haven't filled this up, but the onboard computer is telling me I'm getting in the 60s with this, which is a lot like my Kawasaki Versys 300X. So the twin cylinders use a lot more fuel and don't have nearly as much torque. I hope Kawasaki takes that 300 versus X and upgrades that to a longer stroke engine like they did their Ninja 500 and their Z500, which are both a 451cc engine, the same as the Eliminator has. In the foreign countries, they call the Eliminator 500. And of course, it's a 450. They're all 450s, and they should call them 450s. But here in the United States, we just call it the Eliminator. It doesn't have the 450 or 500 nomenclature attached to it. They took the 400 Ninja engine and put a longer stroke on it, so it made it a 451, so that it has low-end and mid-range torque that the Ninja engines never had before. Now the 500 Ninja does have it. So it's the same engine as this and the Z500. Hopefully they will upgrade the 300 also and maybe stroke that out to a 350. If not, they at least need to bring the Versys out with the 451 engine in it and call it the Versys 500, in my opinion. Well, that's pretty much walk around. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. YouTube has stopped sending me notices when people comment on my site, and I can't figure out why. So I may be a while before I see your comments and can answer them.